Hi, I'm Anthony Sammarco, and we're in Upham's Corner in Dorchester, Massachusetts. This is a thriving crossroads, and since the 19th century, when it was named for Amos Upham, who kept a general store at the corner of what is today Columbia Road and Dudley Street, this area would actually develop as not only a commercial crossroads, but a residential area that would surround it. In the period of the early 19th century, Amos Upham had opened a general store, a simple place where people could get provisions. But by the period of the Civil War, it became one of the best stores in Dorchester, providing all sorts of staple goods as well as luxury items. And the building directly behind me, which was built on the site of Amos Upham's original store, was actually built as the Columbia Square building by his grandson. In that instance, this was something that would actually show the impact of Dorchester's annexation to Boston in 1870. The building itself, which originally was only 1 story in height, had the first electricity in all of Dorchester and the first telephone. In the period of 1870, with Dorchester having a population of 12,000 people, by 1900, 100,000 people lived in Dorchester, and Upham's Corner was actually that commercial center. In 1893, Columbia Road was laid out, connecting what is today Franklin Park and the Dorchester-Roxbury line and what is today the area of South Boston at Marine Park. During that period of time, Olmsted, and Elliott, the successor firm to Frederick Law Olmsted, laid it out as a link to connect the green space of Boston. Today, the junction of what is Columbia Road, Dudley Street, and Stoughton Street is not just a commercial crossroads, but it's also the location of the oldest landmark in all of Dorchester. The Old North Burial Ground, which was laid out in 1634, would actually have generations of Dorchester residents actually buried here. The concept was, this was an important feature because it wasn't adjacent to the meeting house, but it was set out in the period of 1634 as a place of Puritan burials. The building behind me was actually opened by the Sofrino family in the early part of the 20th century. And during that period of time, their supermarket, which is considered to be the first supermarket in the United States, it was an important feature because no longer did clerks simply pull items from a shelf as one wished, but now one could actually shop in a supermarket and actually take the various things to a cashier. But the whole concept was that Upham's Corner itself was a place that didn't just have the Old North Burial Ground, the Columbia Square building with J.H. Upham and Company, the Samuel Bowen Pierce building, but also the Sofrinos, who added to the overlay with, in this instance, a major supermarket that in some ways was an anchor in the community.